This is Michael Popok, Legal AF, right in the middle of the Jan 6 criminal investigations and trials. Before Donald Trump goes to trial in March related to the Jan 6 insurrection and his attempt to cling to power, Mike Johnson, the new Speaker of the House, in order to get votes to get that position away from McCarthy, committed and is now going to release 44,000 hours of Jan 6 footage, withholding only apparently about 5% of the most sensitive information from the public. He's going to release right away this coming Friday about 90 hours, and then over the next and coming months, the rest of the 44,000 hours of footage, a move applauded by his puppet master and leader, Donald Trump, who said that it was an act of courage and conviction and fortitude that Mike Johnson released to the American public all of that footage. And let's remember what the footage in terms of its orientation shows. It shows Capitol Police outmanned, outgunned by thousands of Trump followers attacking the Capitol, breaking through doors, attacking police with weapons, handmade, homemade, brought with them and otherwise, that led to the deaths of 5 people. A carnage so brutal that one of the Capitol Police who had been in Fallujah in the military said it reminded her of those days with blood-drenched steps. And now we're going to get the whole 44,000 hours of Jan 6 footage. Why so many hours? Because the video is running for, let's say, 5 or 6 hours from the ellipse speech all the way through the attack on the Capitol and beyond, and from multiple angles and multiple cameras. Of course, the next insurrectionist can then use the 44,000 hours of video, use some sort of AI program, and figure out exactly the vulnerabilities in the security soft underbelly of the Capitol for their next attack. I mean, this video even will show, presumably, the elected officials escaping and their various escape routes. I mean, they were scrambling at the end here to try to, in their hand-to-hand combat, to protect the elected officials and staff inside. And now we're going to get from these camera angles a unique release. Now, Mike Johnson's comment is ridiculous. He said it is necessary for this information to get out into the public, right? Because everybody should reach their own conclusions, and it shouldn't just be affected by what a small group of government officials say. You mean the small group of government officials in the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation? I mean, this is once again trying to undermine the justice system and the criminal justice system in this country. I mean, what other criminal defendants, and we have hundreds and hundreds of convictions, including people who pled guilty to insurrection, who else gets their evidence or the video surveillance footage put out into the public? And he even said it's for criminal defendants. Well, first of all, criminal defendants, 2/3 of them have already been convicted. There's another batch of 500 or 600 that are awaiting trial. There's another batch of 500 or 600 they haven't caught yet. And is this really the right time for the House? And this should be their number one policy right now, while they're trying to figure out a way to keep the government open, is to release 44,000 hours of Jan 6 footage because Matt Gaetz and Donald Trump wanted him to. I mean, it just shows you how feckless the leadership is by the Republican Party in the House. They can't pass a darn thing that matters to the American voter or their pocketbook, to their health, to their infrastructure, chip manufacturing, education, foreign policy. They can't get anything like that passed, but they can release the 44,000 hours of Jan 6 footage to make Trump happy. I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me. And they don't even think through, how about they consult with the Department of Justice and the FBI about the impact on law enforcement and on prosecution? Shouldn't that be a concern? They seem very concerned about one person in America and his criminal justice experience, and that's Donald Trump. You know, you got Jim Jordan, you got the Oversight Committee, you got impeachment proceedings, all trying to call in prosecutors from around the country to find out, why are they prosecuting Donald Trump? We have no real idea. Read the indictments, read the moving papers. You'll get a better idea of why your leader has been indicted. So they have no problem interfering with the justice system, federal and state, when they have no place in doing that. But then they want to undermine that very justice system by releasing tape without asking the federal government prosecutors, Department of Justice, or the FBI whether it will have a negative impact on their cases. Right? They're not here to put their thumb on the scale of justice in favor of one party or the other. And I'm sure within the 44,000 hours, if you just take little snippets, little segments of it, I'm sure you'll find spaces on the tape, on the video, where there's no violent act going on, where the guy that later on picked up a fire extinguisher or bear spray or a flagpole to attack law enforcement, leading to the deaths of a number of them, is just picking daisies at that particular moment, right? He's getting into position. He hasn't yet joined the angry mob. So yes, if you took it out of context, I'm sure in the 44,000 hours, there's probably, I don't know, I'll make up a number, 15,000 hours of just innocent walking around, and they're going to show that. See, my guy was just walking around, right? Let's cut to the chase. Cut to the video where your guy picked up the flagpole and try to brain one of the law enforcement or break into the building. Let's do that. So look, we're going to, that Mike Johnson bent the knee to Donald Trump and Matt Gaetz is not a shock. He had to do something to get those votes to become Speaker of the House. But that there has been no sober assessment of how the release of that information will impact an ongoing criminal investigation. I can't stress that enough, including one where Donald Trump is implicated, indicted in 4 felony counts and awaiting trial in March. We just had a state court judge in Colorado determine that Donald Trump participated in an insurrection and had engaged in insurrection or rebellion under the 14th Amendment. Now, she ultimately ruled that for some reason, the 14th Amendment, Article 3, in her view, doesn't apply to presidents, only applies to people in Congress and others, which made no sense. But she found, we have a court judicial finding that Donald Trump engaged in rebellion and insurrection. So while all that's going on as a complete diversionary tactic, this is the time the Republicans decide to release the 44,000 hours of Jan 6 footage. We'll cover it, just like we've covered everything else on the MeidasTouch network, at the intersection of law, politics, and justice on Legal AF. If you like this kind of reporting without smoke or sunshine, give me a thumbs up. Helps with the ratings, helps keep this coming to you. And then you can follow us on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Legal AF. Until my next podcast, until my next hot take, this is Michael Popok, right on time, Legal AF.
Hey, Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.